An hour's flight from Prestwick, the USS George W. Bush looms out of the North Atlantic. It's one of the largest aircraft carriers in the world, but hitting its deck at 100 miles an hour can still be a hair-raising experience. STV was granted rare access to this massive military exercise involving US and UK forces. As we step off the transport plane, the sheer scale of the operation becomes clear. It's known as Saxon Warrior. 15 warships, 100 aircraft, submarines below the waves, and around 9,000 personnel. The Americans are passing on their skills, allowing their British counterparts to write a new rulebook for when the Queen Elizabeth carrier comes into service.
I've served in the Royal Navy for 30 years and throughout that time have enjoyed many different elements of the very special relationship we have with the United States. I've had United States ships under command previously, but I've never experienced anything quite as close and as generous as this opportunity we're having here.
The ship is returning from Operation Inherent Resolve, the global fight against ISIS. Down here is a giant skills swap as UK personnel learn these complex manoeuvres.
Now free from the heat of the Middle East, it's the last leg of a long deployment for many of the men and women on board. The commander in charge says their mission has been the destruction of ISIS, and he insists they're winning.
We flew over 13,000 Operation Inherent Resolve sorties and dropped over 1,700 weapons for about 1.8 million pounds of ordnance dropping on ISIS.
Below decks, it's still a serious business, but there's a more relaxed feel as engineers await the all-clear to go to work on one of the multi-million-dollar planes. When the pilots climb inside the cockpit, everything needs to be inch perfect, and they don't forget for a moment the remarkable nature of their job.
It's absolutely exceptional experience. You know, it's like the best fairground round you've ever done, but you know, the skill set that you need to build to be able to do it takes a number of years to get right.
The operation stretches far beyond the other ships on the horizon. Support staff are based at Faslane. Bombing runs will take place at Cape Wrath. Waters and airspace all over Scotland are being pressed into service. But military personnel and civilians alike can only leave the carrier with the help of some serious engine power and a giant slingshot. For the pilots, it takes many years to perfect these techniques, but just over 2 seconds to execute them. James Chain, STV News, on the USS George H.W. Bush.